Hello and welcome back to Ignition GT. Now, for the past 3 weeks, we've been examining the German Big Three in our shootout segment, and we try to come to a unanimous decision as to which model in the range offers the best all-round package. This week, we decided to look at a slightly left-field brand that offers an interesting alternative to BMW, Mercedes-Benz and Audi. And of course, I'm talking about Volvo. And here to tell us which one is best, Lindsay Smythe, Sean Nurse and Francois Oosthuizen. Left field. Is Volvo left field?
Yeah.
In South Africa, I think
it's non-German, which makes it left field.
Yeah, and maybe left field because it was always associated with quirky design, like architects and trendoids.
Antique dealers.
And antique dealers, yeah. But a massive push for the brand from a styling perspective, a more youthful approach, and it's certainly paying dividends when you look at a couple of the cars that are selling well in this country. Shall we start at the bottom and work and work our way, or should we start with the oldest and work our way up?
Sure.
I know you love the Volvo brand and you love the V40 in particular, but it has been around for a long time. What is it about the car that makes it special for you?
So I fell in love with the V40 in the most appropriate of places. It was in the international launch in 2012 in Verona, the home of Romeo and Juliet. And I'm no less in love with it now. My brother's just bought a second-hand one. It is an expensive car. It is, if you consider that it is left field, and if you're looking at an Audi A3 and then you look at a Volvo, you have to go and look at all the spec that you're getting in a Volvo V40. You know, it drives well. Yeah, it's not great on space. It's only downfall.
Yeah. Sean, wow, so much hype around XC40, winning massive awards overseas. Think it's going to do well in SA, and what do you like about it?
Well, I hope it does well. It's the first product to go on their new CMA platform, the Volvo platform. I think in terms of a brand, Volvo has always been associated with the sort of older crowd. So a product like XC40 is really going to appeal to the more youthful market. And I think bringing a compact crossover with, you know, sort of personalization options and all the safety features that you've seen in the bigger Volvo models so far is a great move for the brand. And it comes with a dustbin, which is pretty cool. I mean, where have you ever seen a car that actually comes with a built-in dustbin?
Yeah, not that anyone's going to use it, because South Africans still love using the big dustbin outside the window, sadly. But that is what, I mean, I suppose that's that quirkiness that we love about Volvo, because their design, their sense of managing space and interior layout.
In your car.
Yeah, it is. I think that is so flippin' cool. But what you said is exactly when we reviewed this on the channel a few weeks back. That's what we spoke about. We did a whole 10-minute review, and not once did we talk about safety, because that was all that Volvo kind of was associated with, because it's a square box and it's a little bit dull and boring. So we went to safety. But now there's so much to talk about from a styling perspective. I think that car really at that price point as well is going to see a lot of new buyers stepping into Volvos. Very, very nice. Finalist SA Car of the Year, Volvo S90, a favorite for you?
Yeah. You know what I think is one of the top selling features of the S90 is that because there are no other Volvo sedans in the range, it looks completely distinctive. It's not like a 5 Series that is basically just a big 3 or a small 7. There is nothing that looks like an S90. And it looks really distinctive. The interior, I mean, just the quality, the materials that they've used is beautiful. And if you happen to like using an iPad, then you'll love the interface of the infotainment system.
Look, I mean, that's standard, well, not for you, but I mean, that's standard for all of us, you know, across the line. And it kind of started with a car that I'm championing, the XC90, which we drove an international launch. And I think that was the start of the new look for Volvo. And chatting to Volvo dealerships, they'd had that XC90, was massively popular in SA, but it had been around for so long, I think it was 10 years, 12 years before it was replaced, that a lot of consumers moved to BMW and to Mercedes-Benz. But they've come back, because I think the overall packaging of this is very clever. They were the first guys to then bring out that one engine, 2 litre, whether you're going petrol or diesel, which you can then optimize in terms of performance. And that is what brought you that new look interior that was cutting edge then, like wow, and now it's kind of, this is the new standard. And I think it's nice to see it following across all of the range. You spoke about distinctive. It's not only because it's just distinctive when you look at the competitors, Francois, your S90. It doesn't look like any other sedan. I think that's probably its strongest selling point. Is that the key for us with Volvo, if we're championing the brand, is that a person's going to notice you because it's not, oh, another BMW, oh, another Merc.
It's not about that with Volvo. It's about the way you feel in the car. And it's about how it does its business. So like that S90, head-to-head with the BMW 5 Series on Car of the Year, two similarly priced cars, but they just get to the place in a completely different way.
Yeah.
Like 5 Series, yeah, as a driver, but you get there as fast in the S90, but you don't feel it. And I think the same with the XC40. I mean, that new platform is fantastic. It just, you get in and there's just the serenity in the way that it drives.
It's almost Lexus-like. I want to go there. You know,
So it's not about what other people are looking at you and thinking. It's about how you feel when you drive the car.
But I think that, and for me, is one of the main attractions about the Volvo brand. It's kind of a car that doesn't say anything about the person who drives it. Whereas if you drive a BMW, you're always going to be a bit of a, you know.
Look, I think since Volvo's gone more independent under Geely, they've definitely redesigned the products. The interior, exterior is so distinctive. When you get into that product, it can only be a Volvo. If you look at the portrait-mounted infotainment system, the sort of uniform steering wheel, the way that they mount their air vents, everything is unique to Volvo.
Thor lights.
Yeah, the Thor's hammer LED lights. I mean, they've got these distinctive Volvo traits that only Volvo can pull off. And I think that those are the USPs that are going to bring people into dealers, just to have a look at the cars. And I think that's half the battle won for the brand.
I think if you've been to Scandinavia and you kind of you know the way the people of it is, it's very different. I mean, the Germans go about their business, but the Swedes are kind of laid back and chilled. And I think that is kind of that whole experience that you go through. They just, their attention to detail, their design is inherent. The IKEA stuff you spoke of, very, very cool. But actually interesting to see, we've got them premium, which is where they deserve to be. But I want to just have a look before we run out of time. Just when we considered last week we had Audi, weeks before that Mercedes and BMW. From a pricing perspective, there's some value propositions within the brand still. And for me in particular, with XC90, when you start looking at X5, that is a big seller, and GLE, they're like 150 grand more than what I'm getting in the Volvo. It's almost like that is a step up. Audi's been super aggressive in terms of their marketing. Is that also going to help sales in terms of being competitive on price?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you're trying to entice buyers into a brand that is slightly that is not mainstream, then you need to make it. You need to entice them. You know, it's like the complete opposite of what Jaguar, for instance, have done. You know, they've brought in a model like the XE, but it's
priced it out of the market,
so overpriced that it could never compete. So at least with these cars, they do offer very good value.
Let's go final before we run out of time. Out of these cars, looking at the other competitors, is that S90 the car that you would buy when looking at what's on the market? You spoke Jaguar, I think of XF, which is a flippin' amazing car as well, another great potential, but which would you go for? Would you buy that?
No, quite frankly, I would. The XF would probably be my pick in this segment.
Okay.
I think it has the nicest overall balance of what a car like this should be able to do. I like the Lexus GS as well, but I hate the tablet screen in the Volvos, and I hate the Lexus system even more.
Sean, for you, there's some cars to choose from. Audi's crazy overpriced Q2, Merc is there, BMW even more ludicrous with their X2. Is the XC40 a car that you would buy in this market compared to its competitors?
I think I would. Not this particular model, not the 1500 manual, but I'd definitely go for the 2-litre auto, probably the petrol.
Pay a little bit more?
Yeah, because the X2's really intensely priced. It's like almost 700,000 Rand for a well-spec car, and Q2 is supposedly a smaller car.
Yeah,
so
it is way smaller when you compare it on the boot space. Yeah, and price. Lindsay, we all have kind of older car. You've got older cars to compete with you against Merc and everything else. What would you buy? Would you wait for the new Volvo V40 or the other cars?
Yeah, I probably would. As I say, the platform is fantastic. So yes, I probably would wait for it. And it is a space-saving platform, the way that it's engineered and laid out. So yeah, it should solve the boot space problem. But this, as a second-hand buy, is fantastic.
Good. Out of time. I think we all kind of agree just how fantastic the product always has been. Nice that it's now appealing to a different market. Now we just got to get them to go and drive the things, because they really are fantastic. Thanks for your comments. Nice one. We've come to the end of another show, but of course, don't worry, we are going to be back next week. Brenwyn gets behind the wheel of Isuzu's newly launched MUX.
According to Isuzu, the shoulder line was inspired by a Japanese katana sword. Of course, there is a new grille to match the new nameplate, as well as new headlights and taillights.
And we're in the Northwest Province for a visit to Nampo. But until next week, keep left, pass right, buckle it up, be safe, all those things. See you then.